What's up, everybody? My name's Chance, and today we're diving into a Centennial deck. What does that mean? Well, it basically means we're playing a 100-card Lithoform Engine, Yorion, Sky Nomad, Wombo combo deck. We've all seen me lose to 100-card decks before, and this isn't just happened once, this has happened multiple times, and I always get very angry at it because I'm insulted, right? I'm running a 60-card deck. I should theoretically have a more efficient, more lean, mean machine. And yet somehow they take me down. So today we're going to be diving into how does that work exactly, and can we pull it off with a 100-card deck? The answer is yes. I'm going to go ahead and spoil that. We do pick up some real victories today with this deck, so don't look at it and just say, oh, this is a hodgepodge deck, one of your jank creations, I'm out. We do pick up some real victories. The draw amount actually on this deck feels better than some of these 60-card decks where it's like 24 lands. That's supposed to do you right. I have 100 cards in the deck, okay? We have 35 basic lands. That's not all the lands, but 35 basics to help get them in your starting hand. And then outside of that, you know, we have 3 copies of Amirias, so that's 38. 3 copies of Hoggers, so that's 41. Look for the flip-floppy symbol. Salundi, 42. Jawari, 44. And I believe that's it, right? So 44 total copies of land. Of course, you have the flip-floppy ones that do other things as well. Hogger is a great prime example of one that's a land plus a really good removal, right? 4 mana removal. Not too bad given you have a land on the other side of it. Amiria's Call, great card if you're in that mid to late game, which this is a control deck, so you're aiming to get to that mid to late game and sort of take over with card advantage and powerful things, right? For angels in the sky, indestructible to all your other creatures. It's nice. Now, one thing you'll notice if you were looking closely here, we do only have 5 creatures in the deck, so I know you're probably panicking and saying, Chance, that's not enough when you have 100 cards in the deck. Well, a couple things you'll have to remember. One, we'll always have that Yorion in the sideboard we can pull over into our main hand and have that go-to creature. Also, we have 4 giant killers. We have 4 Birth of Meletis, right? So that way we can create these 0/4 walls. So essentially that's 4 more creatures. We have 3 Omen of the Suns, which create 2 creatures. So essentially that's 6 more creatures if you want to think about it that way, which most people probably don't. We have Amiria's Call, which again, 4 angels, so 3 more available creatures, so to speak. We also have Doom Foretold in the deck as well. We're not going to run that stuff to sacrifice, but they certainly will, right? 4 mana enchantment. It gives us a 2/2 knight. You've probably seen it in the thumbnail going, my god, man. Anyways, really good. We're obviously going to be able to have a constant flow of enchantments and artifacts and stuff to sacrifice out. And then, of course, we have 2 copies of Dance of the Manse. If things ever do get hairy, we can just pull everything back. Now, diving into the meat and potatoes of it all, right? We have 4 copies of Giant Killer, 4 copies of Blood Chief's Thirst. This is great removal for those powerful more creatures. Also really good defensive creatures as it can tap your opponent's attackers, right? Blood Chief's great early removal and attacks planeswalkers. Glass Casket, cheap removal. Birth of Meletis helps get your lands out and gives you a 0/4 wall and gains you 2 life, so what's not to love? Jawari, some early game counter magic that also acts as a land, which is really nice. The pay 1, obviously, if you're running into this late game, you're like, okay, whatever, I just drew a land. Not a big deal. Early game, it can make a world of difference. If this counters your opponent's Love Struck Beast or Great Hinge, you're gonna be like, whoo, excellent. Omen of the Sea to help draw cards. Also, it's an excellent target for Doom Foretold to just sacrifice outright. Dance of the Manse we've talked about, brings your stuff back. Omen of the Sun we've talked about, gives you the humans, obviously really good with the Yorion bounce, you know, sack, scry it, that kind of stuff. Midnight Clock helps you ramp up as well as helps you battle rogues that may mill you. I mean, you have 100 cards, so they shouldn't. If they're milling you and you're still not able to win, I feel like you're doing something wrong. Maybe they're just getting really lucky. I don't know. Who knows? Mystical Dispute, again, early game counter magic against blue decks. Mid-game counter magic against every other deck. Salundi helps you dive into this 100-card pile of madness and help find some bit of control, because trust me, you'll want some. Teferi's Tutelage, you can actually mill the opponent with this deck. What? That's kind of crazy, right? Because you have Tutelage, which of course with Yorion you can bounce, and then that draws you cards. So however many Tutelages you have, you just bounce that many and blah, 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 blah. You have Omen of the Sea to help you draw cards, and of course all the other aspects that we'll get through. 3 copies of Thirst for remaining 3 mana instant speed, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 unless you discard an enchantment. Well, unless I'm wrong, yeah, we have 25 enchantments in the deck, and we have Dance of the Manse to bring back those discarded enchantments, so I feel like it's okay, right? So that's a really good value. 3 copies of Mirrormade, as we do have a lot of control enchantments in this deck that I just kind of want to copy. Doom Foretold, yeah, copy it. You know, Ashiok's Erasure, it'd be a little hard to time that, but sure, maybe. Anyways, Omen, Teferi's, Elspeth's Nightmare, all these things are good copies, right? Which brings us to Elspeth's Nightmare. 3 mana, destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less. Target opponent reveals their hand. You get to choose a non-creature, non-land from that and make them discard it. And then step 3, exile their graveyard, which depending on the deck you're facing may or may not matter, right? 3 copies of Shatter for some board wipe, which is really nice given, obviously, people are going to have creatures. Ashiok's Erasure is a good enchantment that you can flash down, make it so your opponent can't recast a spell, which is a lot more powerful than what people nowadays give credit for, right? We used to have a card called Ixalan Bindings, which was 4 mana in white. You take something, granted it wasn't reactionary, it was kind of reactionary, but it wasn't reactionary like a counter magic spell. You know what I mean? It was sorcery speed. Anyways, it would take something and allow it to where your opponent couldn't cast any more of that spell. Well, I think Ashiok's Erasure is a great spell that completely shuts down your opponent's top end. A lot of the times nowadays, you will have decks that run, 3 copies of Embercleave, 3 copies of Greyhand, 4 copies of Tor Bran, or whatever. You can Ashiok's Erasure that one big coup de grace card, you know, Ashiok's Erasure their Yorion, and now you just have it. No more Yorion, sorry. Try somewhere else. And as an enchantment, it's a little bit harder to remove. That's the point I'm trying to make. Teferi's Ageless Insight helps you with the draw. We only have it in here as a 1-of. It's a fun card. It's my little splash taste. We have 100 cards, okay? Don't judge me. 2 copies of Extinction Event for some awesome board wipage as well. This is Exile, so it's a little bit, I would say, more powerful than Shatter nowadays, because generally Shatter, you'll end up drawing your opponent a card, and yada, yada, yada. They can always come back. Hogger, we've talked about, good destruction, good on the other side. Doom Foretold, we've talked about. Lithoform Engine, we haven't, but I feel like it's pretty obvious, right? You can get Lithoform down and then activate this on any of your activated or triggered abilities, which, you know, whatever. Activate it on your Giant Killer, or activate it on your Teferi's Tutelage triggered ability. The point is, I wanted to play some Lithoform action in a 100-card deck, and that's why it's here. You can copy target permanents, your Doom Foretold, your Teferi's, all that kind of stuff as well, which is very fun. Shadow's Verdict, another great exile card, 5 mana. You can exile all creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield, and all creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost 3 or less from all graveyards, which is insane because that means you're not just hitting what's on the board, you're hitting everything. If they are playing a Lotus deck, a Rakdos deck, this is destruction, I'm telling you. Anyways, next up we have Yorion in the main board because, well, you need a little Yorion action here and there, right? And then, of course, we round out with 3 copies of Emeria's Call. As far as the lands go, I've already told you that we have 35. We just have, you know, our normal slew of basics. We have our castles, Castle Locthwain, Castle Vantress, Castle Ardenville. Nice thing about playing undercard is you have enough lands to play all 3 castles. And trust me, they come in handy. We're running some temples, we're running some pathways, we have the fabled, you know, we're really giving ourselves the best chance of winning with this deck, and I think we have a great shot. I'm not gonna lie, playing this deck felt amazing. The card draw ratio felt really good, despite it being a 100-card deck. So, as far as difficult to play, not too difficult to play, honestly. You know, you see something you want to remove, you remove it. You see a Birth of Meletis, you play it. Gain the land, gain the creature, gain the life. It's not that hard. Speed-wise, it really depends because you have a 100-card deck. So don't take a hand where you only have 4 5s and Emeria's Call, right? Take a hand where you got some 2s and 1s and 3s and you can actually interact with the opponent. So the speed is very variable, which is why I'm probably going to rate it somewhere in the middle. The power of the deck, well, you have 100 cards at your disposal, so you should have more power theoretically than the average bear, which, you know, I'm not going to dive into that, but I think the power is certainly there. Dance of the Manse, of course, can increase your power if you can hit that mana and bring all that stuff back. Yorion balancing all of your wonderful artifacts and enchantments is beautiful, and then of course being able to mill the opponent, even if they are a mill deck as well, you already have the advantage of having 40 extra cards. So as far as the control, it's very controlling. We're only playing 5 creatures, which means the rest are probably non-creature interactables, right? Strategy of the deck, survive until mid to late game, same as a normal Yorion deck, we just got a little bit more firepower, right? Instead of bringing a little assault rifle or a sniper, we're bringing a minigun, and we got a lot of rounds and we're firing them all, right? Anyways, hope you have all enjoyed this deck today. If so, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section. Of course, if you're new here and you're enjoying this style of content, you want to see more custom crafted challenge decks from yours truly, that was a hard sentence to say, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, stick around. Watch this video, watch another video, leave a like, leave a comment, watch tomorrow's video, which they come out again at 10 a.m. I know we're back and forth with the time periods. I'm just trying to find what's right for you and me. I know I did the poll, but I feel like y'all were just telling me what I wanted to hear. You know, sometimes I feel like I ask things as a creator, and I appreciate y'all telling me what I want to hear, but sometimes I just want you to be honest with me, and that's okay. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching. We're going to dive right into the magic. Hope you've been enjoying, and without further ado, let's get into some Contingent. This is a good hand as well. Why are we not playing 100 card decks all the time? Look at these land draws. They're like actually decent. I go play a 60 card deck and I can't get this level of like curve and accuracy with what I want to see in my starting hands, right? It's crazy. Maybe we've broke the algorithm. That's what's happened. It doesn't know what to do. It's like 100 cards. I can't sort this out. We'll just give you everything you want. So being able to curve out to the 4 is really good because we'll have the Doom Foretold. Have you on my other monitor while I work. Believe me, I do end up chuckling a lot. Well, that's good. That's good. And thank you, Myzen, for helping me welcome everybody in. We are generally a quieter stream here, but and by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, we just got raided on Twitch, so that's why we're doing the calamity. Number 6, by the way, is our next foe. I never properly announced them. I think here we just pass back to the foe. We got good defenses. The opponent appears to be playing either Mono Black Knights, Mono Black Devotion, Orzhov Knights, something in this ballpark. Maybe Orzhov Humans, right? This is a human, yeah. Could be even Golgari Adventure. You know, there's a plethora of things that Swordmaster could represent, and that's kind of what I'm loving about the meta right now, honestly, is you could see a card, and you may not fully know what you're facing off against until, 2 or 3 cards later when you're like, oh, right, okay, all right, I see the direction now, right? I just like that it's not like, unless it's like a Loris turn 1 cycling card, and you're like, okay, or a mono red mountain comes down into a fervent, Generally, those things are pretty easy to read, so to speak. So now we'll surprise them with the Omen. Wahaha, had a trick up my sleeve the whole time, and you didn't even know it, you clown. We are going to trade out here, so that's just good sense, right? A Shatter the Sky, hey. We also have Shadow's Verdict, so we have so many shadows and shatters and or no, it's Chia. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something completely different. We will need double black if we want to hit the Shadow's Verdict, so I have a hard decision here to make. Do I hit blue and go for like, Teferi's Tutelage or other game plan, being able to play Brazens and things along that nature, or do I go double down on Shadow's Verdict and just hope we see it? We got the Shatter. I don't need to double down on Shadow's Verdict. We can let it ride for a little bit. Am I going to use Doom Foretold here? If so, when it kicks back to us, we're going to have to sacrifice the Omen, but we will make them sacrifice. They more than likely sacrifice Serrated and probably don't break a sweat. Let's let them know that we're thinking, so they're not just like, wow, this person's so rude. You know what? Let's get down the millage. If not now, then when? If not why, then how, right? They're playing a very small deck. I don't know that we'll need the Giant Killer, but I still want to keep it as opposed to a Hogger Mauling, I think. Hogger, while it does represent the other black mana that I need for Shadow's Verdict, and a lot of people probably gonna get mad at that, I feel bad tossing my only creature in the deck. This is a me thing, okay? This is something I need to get over. It's not you, it's me. I hope you can understand, viewers. This isn't a breakup. It's just a break. Feed the Swarm coming down, taking out Tutelage, and that's the first time I think I've ever seen someone use Feed the Swarm appropriately. So we're gonna block the Death Toucher with the 1/1. It's always good to get those Death Touch people out of here. You don't want to be touched by death. Trust me, it's a nasty feeling. So we see what I mean? The universe, they saw that we were being gracious and they gave us that black man anyway. So we drew the Castle Lock Lane, everything we needed and so much more. Am I right? If I go for Doom Foretold again, we make them sacrifice Scorpion, comes back to us, we have to sacrifice Omen, and from then on, we are sort of racing at what we need to sacrifice. But I'm all game for that, you know? I'm also going to go ahead and play a Giant Killer here, because I don't think they're going to play any actual Giants. So, you know, you can just be a baby defender. How about that? You don't have to be a Giant Killer today, you can be a baby defender. Oh boy. Anyways, is everybody excited for COULDN? I know I am. That heavy metal isn't necessarily my style, and I'll admit I was I cringed a little bit at it, but only out of like audio levels. Does that make sense? You come into a stream and you expect it to be one sound level, and you hit another and you're just like, okay, I need to turn down my speakers. Am I right? I was not expecting the loudness that was pumped through my house upon it starting. But that's all right. We had a good time yesterday. I was trying to stay in everybody's. You know, we really shouldn't have attacked there. I don't know why. I was just like, oh, I mean, open space, let's go. But we had a fun time being in the stream and watching everybody's stuff and whatnot. Anyways, getting rid of their Revenge of Ravens. I have a feeling like number 6 probably won't play too much longer against us here. I mean, we have 2 board wipes, not just that. We have a card that exiles all their 3 CMC cards or less from their graveyard. I will sacrifice our Giant Killer here, which isn't too many right now, but you know, future endeavors. We just let it ride? I think we just pass it back to him, let our Doom Foretold go off, so to speak, right? We have Castle that we can proc, so that's nice. We can't proc the Castle Lochthwain, but the Castle Ardenvale, rather. So we will get to draw some cards here, make them discard. This is my first expansion in MTG, so I'm pretty interested in seeing how it goes. My wallet isn't as excited as I am, though. Yeah, that's generally how it goes. I will tell you this, a good start for anybody that is like, you know, diving into the new set. A good start, at least for me. I can't speak for everyone. You may not have the same taste and blah, 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 blah. I always get the $50 50 packs because that's $1 a pack, and that's good value even for whenever I was like a child, right? If somebody would have walked up to me and been like, hey, I'll give you 50 packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards for $50, I've been like, yo, mom, can I borrow $50? I'll work it off, I swear. Right? Like, that just sounds like a good value. So that to me is fun. To whereas the drafts, it's hard for me to recommend that if you're not a draft player, right? Like paying $50 for 3-4 drafts, because I think you get 1 sealed 3 player drafts. I mean, you could end up going 0-6 in all of them, right? And then what are you left with? Just a whole lot of disappointment. So you do get the cards that you draft, but then you're making your draft bad by taking the cards that you want. So taking the packs, you know, you get that sort of lottery Vegas style feeling that everyone loves so much. We're not playing our Yorion here because there's nothing really to bounce. You know what I mean? If there's nothing to bounce, then Yorion doesn't want to come down. He only wants to come down for the party, you know? He's the kind of Sky Noodle that shows up fashionably late and looking rockin'. Agreed, I got the Arena pack yesterday. I have a booster box ordered too. Stockpiling gold for packs now. Yeah, I've been stockpiling my gold for packs for a little bit here. And then, yeah, I got to pick up the $50 pre-order. I meant to yesterday. I saw it and I was like, yeah, I need to do this. And then I started doing work and, well, Mizen, you saw how the night went. It was a little bit of a rough one. Amiria's Call is really good, really fun for us. Hagra, you know, we're just in a land full of control now. It's like, how do you want to stop the opponent from having fun today, huh? So we actually only have 6 mana, so we're going to need 1 more mana in order to play that Amiria's Call. Let's Glass Casket the Veto, because that seems like the obvious approach here. I'm honestly surprised that number 6 is still going. Like, super duper ultra mega surprised. And I'm also surprised with how well this 100 card deck has drawn. Like, we are just hitting things at a curve that you would expect a 60 card deck to hit. You know what I mean? It's really beautiful. So happy. Anyways, opponent's down to 9 life, and they are full-blown top deck at this point. Revenge of Ravens. That does do a lot for him here, because it means our 1/1s can't swing in with essentially negating their own damage, right? You know, I think we sack the Omen here and go scrying down deep. Deep in the blue sea, what can we find? And another Amiria's Call. Well, that's not bad. I don't really need additional land, so we'll tuck that one back down to the bottom. Probably won't see that till never. You know, because how big the deck is. How large is your deck? It's pretty big. So we'll drop the 2 4/4s. You know, these things gaining indestructible. I don't think it really matters because black, for the most part, has exile in the board wipes nowadays. But it'll be nice for next turn when we can swing and smash with that. It's unfortunate that the Revenger Ravens will go off, so I don't think we'll have lethal on our next turn either, right? Because they'll gain 3 life before we deal the 10 damage. Murderous Rider. That's a dangerous game. Now, the Murderous Rider will stop our 2/2 from attacking, but... Oh, and a 6/3? Let's go. It's a game of magic, ladies and gentlemen. It is a game of magic. So, I could just shatter. Say bottoms up. Goodbye to everything. Shadow's Verdict will exile our board state as well. If I Amiria's Call and give everything indestructible, I just really don't want their Nighthawk to gain them life. Does that make sense? So I could play Yorion, have Glass Casket, take Nighthawk. That allows the 4/4 to get in, and then we shatter. This is difficult. You know what? I think I'm being a little over analytical here. I think we just shatter, and next turn we just play the other Amiria's Call. I think I'm making a very simple solution, so to speak, complicated. And well, y'all know me. I have a way of doing that. Yeah, I tried drafting in whenever I was just getting in, and it didn't go well. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like people always tell you, well, draft is the best way to build your collection. That is true. It is, but it's also it's only the best way to build your collection if you sort of already know the game. And if you already know the game, then you're sort of like you're already within it. You know what I mean? So you don't necessarily need to build your collection as much. If you're already within the game, like a lot of us are, then you're picking up the pre-orders. You're doing this stuff. So they hit the Agademes, which I gotta say is nice for them. But you know, now that my board's clear and my state of mind, my conscience is going to be clear. I'm going to draw here with Castle because we can. Minus me a lot, whatever. I don't even care. Shadow's Verdict. Exile, so you don't get the funny idea of doing that stuff again, am I right? Then, of course, we can Omen on their turn. So next and in turn. This 100-card deck is so astoundingly good. It's drawing so well. Foreboding Fruit, gonna lose them a little bit of life, but give them food to, you know, regain that life if they so choose. We should see, yeah, yep. And I'm assuming they're gonna just immediately eat that food, right? That sounded a little aggressive. Eat that food. I'm sorry. You don't have to right now if you don't want to. Number 6, you can, you know, save it for a later date. Anyways, Omen coming down. Going to gain us some life, gain us some creatures. I feel a little bit better about throwing down Yorion now because we could, you know, do something with it. Opponent's going to hate me, but I got more removal for you. Sorry. I am sorry. So first things first, let's try to get in with these 2 1/1s. No, wait, what am I doing? Killing myself. Literally just killing myself. I know what the card does. Damn it, don't talk to me about it. So can I actually hardcast this Amiria's Call? I can and I shall. I'm going to end up killing myself this match. It's official. Castle Lock the Wane is really good for him. It means they don't just have to top deck now. And Feed the Swarm is another great play there because tokens are 0 CMC, so it doesn't cost them anything. I mean, it costs them mana, obviously, but it doesn't cost them any life. And that is a big key there. So let's get in with the 4/4. 4/4 for more. Ba-da-bum. And then we'll just Yorion to our heart's content, right? All we're gonna bounce is this this little Omen of the Sky. I've had this Yorion for so long and he's wanted to come out. It's okay, you can shake your tail feathers now, you big noodle. You big noodle. We have lethal on board, that's for sure right now. We have counter magic, but they do have enough mana down to where they can definitely pay for our counter magic as long as their spell isn't too greedy, right? Alrighty, I think that's going to be GG. It is indeed number 6, scooping it out. So we're picking up another victory with our 100-card Yorion deck. And anyways, we only have 2 lands here, but we do have the Glass Casket available. Is that worth a keep? I think so. We have the Elspeth's Nightmare, we have Omen of the Sea, so if we draw blue, you know, we're good. If not, well, we still might be good. We have plenty of lands in the deck, and I have every bit of faith that we can find them. You want to look at my deck, bro? It's the biggest deck you've ever seen. So we hit the 3rd land, which means we can at least get to the Elspeth's Nightmare, and that's a good feeling, right? We'll get a little look-see into the opponent's stuff. Maybe they could remove it, you know. Don't want to get too cocky. So it's a rogues. It is a rogues deck, huh? Oh, and an Omen of the Sun. That gives us a little bit of crackback ability, as I like to call it. Or smackback ability. Anyways, go ahead, play your rogue. Oh. Oh no. I gotta say, I'm a little confused. I was fully expecting a Soaring Thought Thief there. Rogues have, like, Stockholm Syndrome me into believing, and it's, you know, it's weird. We have blue-black now that stands like, oh no, this is rogues. Before, it was blue-black, and you're like, oh no, don't Thought Erasure me. I'm seeing a key here with this little 2-mana power that Dimir gets every once in a blue moon, you know? Really grabs the meta by the stuff. Lutine, baby, baba. Lutine, baba. I like that. Doesn't sound like I'm even speaking English when I say that name. So what do you got for me? Because I was really expecting counter magic. Heartless Act. That's what you've been held up on this whole time? A Heartless Act? You kidding me? So I do want to Elspeth's Nightmare just so I get a little look-see at what they're doing, and I think now is the proper time because they don't have anything, you know, to stop me. We could have also just scryed with the Omen of the Sun, which I think is a definite fair point, you know, given we have 0 lands, and knowing that we could draw into a land is kind of key information. I'm sort of a greedy player. Even when it comes to knowledge, I would rather have the knowledge of their hand over the knowledge of mine. You know, reveal 2 cards, reveal 6 to 5, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, whatever. I feel like sometimes I just say random stuff, and I know nobody's listening because y'all don't ever comment on it. You're like, whatever. Chance is just talking out his ass again. So the Didn't Say Please will be nice to get rid of. They also have 2 Voracious Great Sharks, a Cling to Dust, and an Eliminate. We definitely have to get rid of the Didn't Say Please there, right? We don't care about the Eliminate, couldn't care less. Them having Sharks is kind of bad, but we can always Blood Chief Thirst it, and I think we shall. Yep, say goodbye, Senor Shark. Boop. Now we're going to use that Fabled, grab us some blue mana. From that blue mana, we can use Thirst for Meaning, which could be really good for us. They do have the mana for the Voracious Great Shark, and I think, if I know the opponent, and I feel like I do, they're going to be using that, that mana for that stuff, right? We are going to exile your graveyard. That's going to happen. You don't really have anything worthwhile in there anyways, so it's okay. Alright, blue mana. I'm blue. And they can't counter this because it's not artifact or creature. We got a couple of those big old sharks in our deck as well. Don't you worry. You may see them in this game. That doesn't counter it, but you did get it down. So maybe that's what they were looking for. They were just looking for a window to drop their creature. So we can Giant Killer and still have 2 mana available to us. Oh, I don't want to say anything. I'm just trying to grab my creature here. We're doing it at sorcery speed so they can't counter it or whatever. Oh, they're just gonna scoop it out, and we did it. We picked up a victory. I gotta say, it feels pretty good, you know? I still had like 70 cards left. Any Hoosers, Sean is going to be our first foe for the day. We have nothing but black mana here and nothing but blue spells, so that's, you just don't like that. This is much better. Much better. There are all kinds of lands here. We got spells out the wazoo. I think we're gonna put back the Mirrormade because it's the least useful in current situation. Get down the Castle Vantress because it's tap land, and you know, we'll go from there. Good old Gilded Goose. So it could be a food deck from the foe here. Ooh, we got another swamp. So, well, I mean, let's go ahead and get this down. We're not using Giant Killer yet, but next turn we play Swamp. We'll have mana for Hogger Mauling. We'll also have mana for Extinction Event and Chop Down, as it were. So, Garrick's Uprising. The opponent looks like they want to play some big creatures, and I say, go for it. We got Giant Killers out the wazoo in this hand. Come on, Sean. That's a teeny tiny little snake. That's nothing to be afraid of. All right. You know, I think we just pass it back to them. I'm having a fun time. They're having a fun time. I think that's all that matters. We could have hoggered the snake, so they don't gain this mana here. But I almost want to destroy what they bring out after the snake rather than the snake, right? My theory is this. The snake can remain, and eventually they will top deck. However, the big creatures gotta be limited supply, right? So you can either take out the snake and hope that they don't find the mana to play the big creatures, or you can just take out the big creatures. Now, they do have that extra card draw, so maybe taking out the snake so they couldn't play the big creatures was the answer. But, yeah, I don't know. If we would have taken out the snake on the last turn, they couldn't have played Questing Beast there, but maybe they play Lovestruck. Who knows? We'll get on another land, and another land to come out? Sure, I'm alright with that. We might at some point may not necessarily want only lands, but we'll see. So, problem with us only having the one bit of white mana is we can't play a Giant Killer plus have mana for a Giant Killer, so I think at this point we're just sort of keeping our defenses up, so to speak. This next turn, we can play the Omen and have mana left over thereafter. Snake's a little annoying, not gonna lie. A little bit annoying. I wonder what they think looking at us. They're like, oh man, it's one of those 100-card Andes. So we let that resolve. They don't have anything to destroy on our side, and so we don't mind that. It just makes it to where now I can do this. And goodbye, Gem Razor. Also makes it to where technically it doesn't enter the battlefield, so Garrick's Uprising doesn't work. Oh, they give it protection with Ranger's Guile. I like that. We're still going to destroy it. I will have my revenge, damn you. But it can wait a turn. So let's use Omen of the Sea. I know it's sorcery speed, but you'll forgive me. Blood Chiefs is really good for removal, and another Omen's really good. Let's draw into the Blood Chiefs. If I play this, I can't use Hogger Mauling, but I could also just Blood Chiefs the Gem Razor here, sorcery speed. Wouldn't need the Hogger Mauling. Y'all think they have more Ranger's Guiles in their hand? Nah, surely not. Surely not, right? The biggest fear with me letting them untap like this is they can't have mana for Great Hinge. Right, because they have the 4/4 down, they have the 5 mana, so. But here's hoping. Here is to hoping. They're creating a food, so they must not have the Great Hinge. But why are they creating a food? What are they setting up for, I wonder? Huzzah! Let's see if we can slay the beast this time. Heroic intervention. By golly, man, you have a lot of defenses there. Or a woman. Who's to say Sean's a exclusively male name? I slayeth you. I do want to go ahead and get Giant Killer down so we can start using that tap target creature. You know, all that really requires is us to have the Giant Killer on, untap, and 2 mana untapped. And I think we can manage that with where we're at right now, so sure. Ashaya, that's a big one. That is a big, 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 big one. Also allows them to tap their Goose just for mana outright, you know? What are you, Ashaya? You're an odd? Oh, that's a little rough. So we could go for the Doom Foretold here, plus still have mana for Omen. Not necessarily fantastic, given we don't know for a fact that it's going to exile, or going to sacrifice the Ashaya. Do we just go for the Extinction Event here? I think so. Clear the board. Odd. Sorry, Giant Killer. You had a short-lived life there. There's no way for me to know, though, you know? It's just one of those things that sort of happens. Scoot. Oh, no. Oh, shoot, it's Scoot. Oh, shoot, it's a lot of Scoots. Okie dokie. Well, one unfortunate thing about our Doom Foretold is it actually doesn't make them sacrifice their Scoot Swarms. So, that's just bad. We need some board wipe. Board wipe on aisle 2. Check, check. Board wipe. Let's go ahead and get down the Omen. Thirst could help us get to board wipe, so I'm not necessarily opposed to that. More mana. We still need one more in order to pull Yorion over and slam a jam at it right down. I think we use Thirst for meaning sorcery speed, look for some board wipe. Yeah, I guess this is how we want to do it. Alright, let's see what we get here. Because I would definitely rather wipe these Scoots sooner rather than later. Mystical Dispute. Do I want to discard an enchantment or 2 lands? Could just discard 1 enchantment and 1 land. Oh boy. Alright, Doom. Do your work. I'm a little worried that they may just come back with like, aha, I buffed my creatures. Because they're playing a lot of like wild card stuff here. So, let's see. They'll sacrifice probably the Garruk's Uprising, right? Because they can't sacrifice tokens, so it's either the Scoot Swarm or the Uprising. So we at least take out their card draw mechanic, sort of. I need some board wipe. I don't think we can survive 2 turns of this, actually. So this is really like make or break here. We might even want to scry with our Omen in our upkeep, right? One, two. I definitely don't want to tap it like that. I think I'd rather tap like that. Take that stop off now. Glass Casket's not going to do it for us. Land's not going to do it for us. Alright. Sacrifice the other Omen. Come on! Is that enough? We'll gain 2 life. They have 8 attackers. We can block 2 creatures. We're up to 7 life. We're alive by 1? Okay, alright. Back to you, Sean. Oh, no, wait! We're alive by 2. Because they have to sacrifice their Scoot Swarm here. They don't even realize it. They're like, oh, you're so dead. But I'm not. I'm not actually. We're almost dead. If you have some kind of buffing, then we are still dead. But I'm gonna hold on. Y'all saw that other game with Karuga. We were in there. You know, we won with 2 health, and here similar situation. We have 2 health. We have 1 health. We have 0 healths. If I had 1 more mana, I could have disputed one of those. Oh, but they could have paid. Nah, we tried. We went down swinging. We really did.